So you queue popped for Syrcus Tower. This is the second in the Crystal Tower raid series, and we'll see you ascending to the radiant peaks of the ancient Allag Tower. Let's get into it. Your first set of trash is a large collection of beasties that you can mostly tank and spank. The trash in general in this raid is pretty straightforward, but I will let you know when exceptions arise. Be aware that some adds will spawn mid-pull, so if you're a tank, keep an eye out for that. Scylla's main mechanic is a variety of elemental orbs that she will tether to players at random, and they will have to be dealt with accordingly. If you have a purple lightning orb, you will have to lead it into one of the pillars of energy on the side of the room. Keep in mind that if you see all three of the pillars' colored markers are lit up, it is no longer accepting orbs and you will have to use one of the others. Failure to hand in an orb will cause it to explode and do raid-wide damage. An icy blue orb will freeze its tethered player when it makes contact. So if you are tethered to a blue orb, try to get frozen near the boss so it will be easier for other players to break you out. Speaking of, if you have a fiery red orb, drag it into people who have been frozen by the blue orbs to thaw them out. You will see this leaves a puddle of water. Detonating a red orb on an existing puddle will dry it up. If you stand in a puddle, it will reduce the damage taken by the boss's ancient flare cast, but to be honest, this spell isn't very dangerous, so it won't be the end of the world if you miss a puddle. Moving up the stairs and downing some more trash will lead you to the second boss, Glasya Labolas. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. This guy is an absolute pushover these days. The only mechanic you have a chance of seeing in 99% of your duty finding runs are his drones, and even these can be ignored. If you see a drone, it will be invincible unless somebody stands in its AoE zone. The player in the AoE will be stunned until other players kill the drone. You should not deal with these adds at all because they will actually lower the DPS on the boss and is the only way I've seen people die in this fight. Just focus the boss down before he can do anything else and you'll be fine. The third and final set of trash has one mechanic you might want to look out for, the dragon strafing run. If you see someone with this green marker, the dragon will appear and make a diving run at them, dealing damage to all nearby players and knocking them back. Just stay away from the marked player and you can avoid this completely. If you are the marked player, try to run away from others and you'll be fine. The damage isn't extreme, but it is something that can be avoided. Now it's time for a show! Amon is the most mechanically dense fight in this raid. Throughout the fight, he will summon adds on the sides of the arena, and these will have to be burned down. The most important adds are the slimes that he summons. If they reach the boss, they will cause a raid-wide silence effect, which means healers cannot heal and casters cannot do damage for a time. When he summons the Wraith-like Kumkums, he will also summon purple orbs that will tether to players. Lead the orbs into adds to shrink them, and they will become easier to kill quickly. At some point, random players will be frozen in blocks of ice, and some players will be turned into frogs while being chased by large snakes. If you are a frog, you will see you gain a fire breath ability. Do not melt the frozen players. You will need those ice blocks in a bit. Just keep running from the snake that's chasing you while your allies kill it for you. At some point in that chaos, Amon will begin casting Final Curtain. This will instantly kill anyone that isn't hiding behind an ice block. Keep in mind that if the ice block is in his hitbox, it will not protect you. Simply hide when the cast finishes and then finish the clown off. Xande is a boss with rotating phases. Soon after you pull, there will be rings that spawn around the floor and these will need to be soaked by players. If you see a ring that doesn't have anyone standing in it, that's your sign to fill that spot. Soon afterwards, Xande will teleport away and leave you with meteors that you will have to kill. The Stonefall circles have a shorter cast time, so they should be defeated first before moving on to the Starfall circle in the middle of the room. When Xande returns to the field, he will mark one player in each party with an AoE soak marker. These can actually overlap with no issue, so just make sure each ring has other players and you'll be fine. These AoEs will leave behind levitation areas that you will have to stand on to survive the incoming Ancient Quagga cast. After Quagga, you'll have to get out of the orange AoEs, and then repeat the Starfall and Quagga phases until the boss eventually goes down. And with Xande defeated, that closes out Syrcus Tower. We'll see you next time for the final raid. Good job!